It is the official position of this record label that nuclear weapons are a lucrative fear porn scam designed to mentally and spiritually enslave the masses into the belief that other human beings have the power to end the world. There is only one who has all power. That one is the Creator. May you find him now.
That lives right down the street. I think he's dangerous. He said he'll shoot everyone that he meets, and I know.
To prove that that Arthur Lee Allen was a Zodiac killer, here are some lesser known facts that only a nerd would know. 1. He sent a VHS tape of himself and taped news appearances he made regarding his experiences with law enforcement and their suspicions about him. He then mailed this VHS tape to a close friend, Phyllis Seawater, and on the front of it, amongst a confusing string of seemingly random letters and numbers, he included the following: 1A350D 14C8. Now, if you take that message and you fucking turn it sideways,
I wanna lay all my problems on Arthur Lee Allen. It's been 50 fucking years and I still lay out. I just wasted 50 years looking at Arthur Lee Allen. But now I just sold a movie deal and now I'm in a book.
the following is a direct quote from Allen's last will and testament. I love my brother very much, and this made the hurt all the deeper. It was written before 1992 and updated until his death in 1992. In 2020, the Zodiac Killer's infamous Z340 cipher was cracked. Part of their decryption reads, "I am not afraid of the gas chamber because this will send me to paradise all the sooner."
I was in a documentary because of Arthur Lee Allen. And everyone in America has heard of me now. All because of the cannon on and go by and my buddy Arthur Lee.
Okay, now that we have covered Arthur Lee Allen, here's the case against my own personal suspect, Kane Orlander. He likes to walk around in the dark, usually in shadowy corners hidden by bushes. He is almost always resting on his laurels. On some days, frequently as late as 5 p.m., he will be asleep in bed. He drinks tap water, and he smokes a lot of Marlboro 27s.
From the house I'm in, and all the things he does are looking quite shady. Yeah, he's always walking around in the dark, in the bushes, resting on his laurels, and never seems to change his ways at all. I think my roommate might be the Zodiac Killer. I think my roommate might be. I think my roommate might be the Zodiac Killer. I think my roommate might be.
The biggest technical issue today with doing anything sketchy or illegal or immoral is that you have to watch out for Drew Beeson, because something sketchy will happen and then Drew Beeson will come along and he'll solve it.
We used to live somewhere
In order to more effectively state my case, I have prepared a couple reconstructions of relevant illustrations. This first artifact is a reproduction of the Napa County Sheriff's composite sketch of a potentially suspicious man sighted near the scene of the Lake Berryessa attack on September 27, 1969. This is the Lake Berryessa voyeur from the Zodiac case. Okay? And then this is my former roommate, Kay Norlander. And so you can see very striking resemblance.
Upstairs as fast as I could. I was practically knocking people over to get to the executive boardroom. Quick, I shouted. Close the windows, lower the blinds. It was practically pandemonium in there. Officers running here to there. Suge Knight is coming, Suge Knight is coming, I screamed. Just before I could close the door, I was...
Suge Knight is the greatest thing that has ever happened to the music industry. In fact, if I could personally work with anybody, it would be Suge Knight. Suge Knight is always fair to his business associates, and any accusations that he has extorted other musicians or startup record labels are purely slander and libel and baseless without proof.
I mean, you guys heard him say it. He's been all up on that TV, all about my sins, but man, ain't nobody paying to say all that stuff about how I'm the best in the industry. I really think everybody should leave Suge Knight alone and start worrying about Keefy D. We was only on Vlad for 15 minutes tops, and this Keefy D starts shooting at me, and everybody only wanted to worry about what Suge did wrong. Nobody want to think about what Keefy D did.
Men with suits, chemical resistant suits. Men with suits are gonna take just me away. 'Cause I just need some hydrazine, free base. I just made some hydrazine, free base. I just made some hydrazine, free base. I just made some hydrazine, free base.
On March 1st, 1932, history says that world-class dirtbag Bruno Hauptmann, using a wooden ladder he had crafted by disassembling pieces of his own house, gained unauthorized access to the Lindbergh family's Hopewell estate in New Jersey sometime in the late evening hours via a second-floor nursery window. In a mind-blowing display of shocking crackhead psychosis, he stole the infant child of international superstar aviator Charles Lindbergh. Subsequent investigations would suggest that, during his daring escape from the same window, undetected for the duration of his operation, Hauptmann would drop Lindbergh's son from the ladder when rung number 16 of the ill-fated wooden tweaker contraption suffered a catastrophic structural failure. Experienced window burglar Hauptmann, having previously used a ladder during the commission of a felony, quickly made his escape, leaving behind a ransom note demanding $25,000 for the safe return of the child, which he had secretly ditched on the side of the road in the bushes while departing the Hopewell estate. Over the next 2 years, Hauptmann would string Lindbergh along in a futile quest to find his son, insisting the baby was still alive. Investigations run by Lindbergh, a doctor named John Condon, and the Bureau of Investigation would eventually trace a gold certificate from the ransom money to a gas station, where Hauptmann had purchased gasoline but drawn the attention of the attendant, who recorded the license plate number of the man who had spent the bill.
Hauptmann was SWAT raided while leaving for work, and a mountain of circumstantial and physical evidence was subsequently discovered. Some of the ransom money was recovered from behind paneling in his garage. The address and phone number of Dr. Condon was found written in Hauptmann's handwriting on a secret wall surface in his attic, and some of True Crime's first significant forensic evidence was brought forth at trial, when wood grain experts testified that the latter recovered from the crime scene matched wood grain patterns in the surface of the wooden support beams in Hauptmann's attic. He was consequently sentenced to death and electrocuted for his role in the Lindbergh kidnapping case. Realistically speaking, Hauptmann probably was there, but since Thomas Henry Horan knows the price of gold,
Late night is weeping, all losing their minds, waiting for an understanding but running out of time. Baby, naughty answer, I know that I'll lose my mind. It's getting empty and so uncertain, you're running out of time.
let me take you to where Isidore Fish was written. You see where that pole is up there? Over here? That metal pole. I was sitting on the far side of it, so like, that, there you go, square meter. That's where that song was written, the whole thing. I pinned a clipboard to the dirt and then had it sit against the gutter surface so I could write on it, and then wrote that entire song with an acoustic guitar.
Take your places here with these faces and watch him take the fall. But how big was it there? He never was even there. How big was it there? He never was even there.
There wouldn't be a reason for Hauptmann to go to Hopewell. If Hauptmann found himself at Hopewell, he would probably be really bored because there's nothing for him to do there. My money's on Isidore Fish anyway, because he just suspiciously moved to Germany, and then while he was there, he got tuberculosis and died. Anybody who gets tuberculosis and died is probably guilty, otherwise why would they get tuberculosis and die?
How big was it there? He never was even there. How big was it there? He never was even there. He never was even there. He never was even there. He never was.
Oh, wow, thank you. Excellent, Sammy. Hey, Sammy, did you know my uncle, Jimmy Kaiser?
No, but if I did know your uncle, I probably would have shot him.
During our intermission, I'd like to announce some very important news. The results of our poll are in after we surveyed 33.33 criminals and other societal malcontents. We asked them, if you were to commit a crime today, who would you feel more intimidated by if they were assigned to lead the investigation into your offense? A. Drew Hurst Beeson. B. Ned DeHaan from Black Box Online Radio. C. Professor Thomas Henry Horan, PhD. Or D. Tom Voigt. 43% said A. Drew Beeson. 41% said Ned DeHaan, second only because of his relative lack of decisiveness on any one potential suspect. 14% said Professor Thomas Henry Horan, PhD. And 2% were later found to have been paid by Tom Voigt to vote for him. They were then disqualified, as was Sandy Betts.
Crowds have gathered in the hall of music. Just wait till the fanfare dies down. They'll all have seen me and I know I'm never going home. I might be in the chambers of your leader, but I really don't care about the affiliation, 'cause I'm going nowhere and he's never going home. I'm just a force without a leader, no nation, no rule of law, and I've got a 32 that I'm here to use on you. Bring on back the 20th century, bring it all together in a hell of a night. Be so proud, Mr. President, you're never going home.
Take you into hydrogen to show you how drums are made. This is basically how I build drum tracks for this record, and it's super fucking meticulous and terrible. I have several drums here: kick, snare, hat. You have literally you can change the size. You also have access to, up here, larger cut and paste section, and then I put the kick or the hi-hat there. There you can see that. Okay, then it just restarts up there. But if I do, 20 of those, I can also select pattern 2. Pattern 1's persistent there, but to pattern 2, then I can change the pattern and go boom, boom, okay. I used to call this talking to the studio gods. So then if you look at, you see and then it will switch and it will start playing that pattern. That means that every single time there's a drum fill, I have to go like this. Okay, and then do the hi-hat, and you skip the hi-hat where it wouldn't be possible for a human to play unless they have 3 arms, blah blah blah. I also have some humanizer functions here. These allow you to humanize the velocity, which is like the strength of the hit. So like say it's a snare drum, and that would be a velocity variance there. Okay, then timing is of course slight variations within that resolution graph. And then swing is and it has that kind of that swing to it.
Who would win in a gun battle? Leon Zolgaz or the Son of Sam? Zolgaz fearlessly engaged a high-profile target so immense that nearly an entire century's worth of history was likely altered by his actions. For this, Zolgaz is given 1 point. The Son of Sam used a larger caliber weapon, and his aim to kill was far more committed. For example, SOS primarily took headshots at close range to maximize lethality. Zolgaz quite hesitantly shot at his target twice, in the stomach. For this, Son of Sam is given 2 points. Zolgaz appeared to have given absolutely, quote, 0 fucks towards being spotted by witnesses. Consequently, he could strike anywhere at any time. This is worth at least 2 points. While the Son of Sam was easily distracted by anthropomorphized canines and edgy demonic imagery, Zolgaz maintained full confident focus with incredible combat effectiveness right up until engaging his target. Since the consequences of the event are not factored into this assessment, this takes 1 point from Son of Sam and gives it to Zolgaz for a total score of Zolgaz 4, Son of Sam 1.
Hi, I'm Maury Terry. Today, I intend to prove that the 44 shootings in New York were not committed by David Berkowitz, but instead a highly secretive and supernaturally powerful group of skinnies on the various rooftops surrounding the crime scenes. Let's look at the facts. Fact 1. Far more people, statistically speaking, have been shot by skinnies on rooftops than by David Berkowitz. This alone would seem to prove my theory. Fact 2. Berkowitz himself told me after I bribed him with some money and gifts that the so-called Son of Sam was actually a powerful gang of skinnies on apartment building rooftops under orders of the devil, John Carr, and that dog from those commercials. Fact 3. At the scene of the Stacy Moskowitz murder, Berkowitz was issued a traffic citation, then, it is claimed, traversed several city blocks in seconds to fire fatal shots at the crime scene. Since people cannot run this quickly, the logical assumption is that the shooting was actually carried out by skinnies on the rooftops. Fact 4. You will never hear the word skinny used to describe a Somalian man with an AK uttered on mainstream media. Is this evidence of a cover-up? Check out my book, The Ultimate Skinny, for more information. I'm Maury Terry.
There are skinnies on the rooftops, all chewing on a bale of cotton. Skinnies on the rooftops, see them die for a pointless cause. There are fires in the distance, and the way out's all blocked off by the skinnies on the rooftops. Yeah. And I don't ever think that they're gonna give this place up. I don't really see a way that the system ever gives up on these skinnies on the rooftops. See them dying for a pointless cause. Skinnies on the rooftops. See them die for a pointless cause. There are skinnies on the rooftops, and the way out's all blocked off by the skinnies on the rooftops. Yeah. So I got out my satellite phone, called North Koreans from home. They can turn this disaster around. Yeah.
Hi, Maury Terry here again with some groundbreaking information. This is a scale model of that hole in the wall where Mr. Williams is believed to have lived. According to sources, this would be the ideal location to have fired a sniper rifle for each and every crime committed by those scoundrels in Untermeyer. Unfortunately, those shots were fired from so far away that we will need to calculate the trajectory of the bullet while factoring in the rotational velocity of the Earth. I guess nobody mentioned to you that the rotational velocity of the Earth, if it were a globe, would vary quite significantly depending upon your longitude. This means if snipers were truly taking into account the spin of the Earth, they would need data far beyond what anyone would ever need to effectively engage a target from a substantial distance. Why are we told this about long-distance sniper shots? And how in the world would one ever calculate the differential between longitude of the target and longitude of the rifle's muzzle? I can't think of a reason to lie about something so sensational and dramatic sounding unless one had a deeper motivation behind hammering such a lie into people's heads. Anyway, I'm Maury Terry, moving 2.2 million miles per hour in 4 different directions at the same time. This is Jet Propulsion Laboratory live from NASA TV.
anyone else hear that fucking dog? Mr. Williams, is that your...
I was pretty stumped and I didn't know what to do here. And fortunately, the TUE Thomas Henry Horan Forum people came through and they sent a letter. I think that this is from Maury Terry. I have to... there's a couple reasons I would say that, but I don't have proof of that, but I'm pretty sure this is from Maury Terry. Okay. First of all, look at how gigantic this piece of paper is. Hello, Vincent Wheaties McConnell. He didn't... I don't think that he... Anyway. Before I start, I must say I am not Maury Terry, and it's underlined in capital. So you better net thing that I am him. No, my friend. My name is Thomas A. Darden by name, and I represent the He's tried to spell the word process 3 times, and each time he crosses it out. I represent the process churches. We fire all the shoot at all the New York crime scene you mention. Therefore, or thus, you son of a bitch, you, and it's got an exclamation mark, you and Manny Grossman need stop, capital underline, stop talk bad on the Maury Terry. I shall you have no. I think that's spelled backwards, but Maury Terry is more credible than you is ever be. You give me $21,000 or I tell the world you or Manny have the nickname of Wheaties. Ha 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 ha. Not Maury Terry. Thomas Darden. I don't know why 21,000, first of all. And then you or Manny. So it could one of us goes by the nickname Wheaties. I'm pretty sure this letter's from Maury Terry.
We're not falling anymore. We're not falling anymore. We're not falling. My master's never falling. We're not falling. Now that gravity is gone.
Alright, so another one's come in. These are to the super chat box. Dear Vincent this is not, oh, and by the way, it's underlined again. This is not Maury Terry. This is Zodiac speaking. To prove this, measure the paper your hand. Ha! I too am Process church spokesman. You thought that letter was Maury Terry? Ha! No. It was my boss. A real member processing the church of. Yes, we are both Proc Church Calt members. I am sometime over. Fly California to New York or fly state to assist Mr. Real Estate in the shoot of the Untermeyer. You're so stupid, ha. And Maury Terry's so smart. Or smat, it says. And then it has the Zodiac logo. So obviously, I mean, nobody thinks this is a real cult, right? This is Maury Terry. The entire cult is Maury Terry.
here at the wreckage before everything was moved across town at about 3 o'clock in the morning to this location.
Yes, sir.
We're looking for Sasquatch.
We know he's out here.
I've tried to lure him out with wood knocks and whooping sounds, but it hasn't worked yet.
In the morning, gotta go on down and move all my things around town. I gotta slide down the hill in the mud. Go get all my things from the vineyard.
Oh, that's where the ye old El Casween Gap was invented by the Chinese. What is this? So you can see where the Squatch has ripped up a lot of the trees that used to be right here and scattered them everywhere. And then also he's taken a bunch of rocks and chain link fence and he's taken those apart and built them into a sort of a retaining wall that he can use to, it's probably the Squatch where. Alright, so you can see he's scattered everything around. No human could be responsible for this level of carnage and destruction present at this site. The only way that's possible is for something of a much larger size, probably something about 800 pounds and about 7.5 feet tall.
It's always my mercy warehouse. It's always my mercy warehouse. It's always my mercy warehouse. Not anymore. It's 3 in the morning, gotta go on down and move all my shit around town. It's 3 in the morning, I can never come down. I gotta move all my shit around town.
Now I know why Tom Voight. Now I know why Jaron has like a 20-minute NASA countdown before he goes live, because there's a buffer period, and I think he's trying to gain viewers and listeners too during that period of time. I don't anticipate many, so that makes it easy. Anyway, we saw from Tom Voigt's website, and then also like most of the statements that he's made online since the time that that website was founded, that he's unhinged, I think. The funniest thing about Tom Voigt is that he had lunch with Don Chaney, and I think he paid for the meals. And then it was pointed out to him by, I think, Barfly. I don't know who that is. I originally suspected that Barfly was Drew Beeson, but that might not be true. I would like some clarification just to know for sure, is that just someone that held a similar opinion about Cheney and Allen, or is that because that was Beeson? And then Tom Voigt was trash talking him, and then Barfly fired back about something having to do with, wouldn't that be hilarious if you bought lunch for the Zodiac Killer and you didn't know that it was Cheney? And Tom Voigt promptly banned him. Usually that's how Tom Voigt's default response is, like just ban first and then ask questions later. He has a mod team that will like go and review the bans to make sure that it was justified, so that he can just ban really fast, and then he can wait, and then the moderator team will look over it and go, oh, we actually banned that guy, you know, prematurely.
Hey Mark Robert, stop peddling your snake oil bullshit online. Hey Mark Robert, that shot didn't come from the front and you know it. And Eric Hunley, why can't you correct this guy or something? Your military background should turn in its bed every time that we hear this guy. It's Mark Robert, shooting from a sewer drain, what a total dirtbag. It's Mark Robert, shooting from the windows, what a novice in ballistics.
He likes to turn the drum track off.